For the first time in history, there's a Henry revolver, and it's called the Big Boy. With the introduction this year of the Henry Big Boy Revolver, the company is offering for the first time a handgun to complement its rifles and carbines. It's a 6-shot, double-action revolver chambered for .357 Magnum. If I just handed you the gun and put some masking tape over the roll mark on the barrel, there's a 99% chance that you'd know it's a Henry. The glossy dark finish of the blued steel, in contrast to the polished brass, are accented perfectly by the smooth American walnut grip panels. The Big Boy Revolver bears an indisputable look of the later 19th century. And because it's a period-based design, it's going to appeal to some people's taste more than others. When set next to a Henry Big Boy brass carbine, also chambered in .357 Magnum, you can immediately see the family resemblance. The Big Boy Revolver is available in 2 variations. There's the bird's head grip and the gunfighter's grip. Aside from the shape of the butt of the gun, there aren't any differences really. The bird's head weighs about an ounce less, and it's about a ½ inch shorter overall. The smaller, rounder butt of the bird's head model will probably conceal better if you plan to carry it, while the gunfighter grip fills the hand a little more and it might be easier to draw from a conventional holster. The one you see in this video is the gunfighter grip. I like that Henry offers both versions of the gun because I know folks who would prefer the smaller, rounder butt, like my friend Ryan Machad from the Handgun Radio podcast. And while I tend to like the larger, square butt a little better myself. Yeah, I know. I just set up a lot of potential jokes with those comments. Have fun with that. And as I said, the action is double action, single action. Some may wonder why Henry didn't offer the Big Boy in a single action only model, perhaps in keeping with the period reference. But keep in mind the double action revolver goes back as far as 1851, although it didn't catch on as the standard until sometime later. Henry was a cutting-edge technology company in the 1800s, and most experts agree that their rifles influenced a change in the industry. So I think it's fitting that a Henry revolver based in that era would embrace the emerging technology. The cylinder rotates counterclockwise, and the action feels rock solid with excellent timing. Cylinder lockup is very snug, and the trigger is deeply curved with a smooth face. It pulls smoothly all the way through a double-action stroke, and it springs back to a reset in a quick, solid sweep. Putting 6 rounds down range in a hurry is really a piece of cake. And of course, you can thumb cock the hammer for single-action fire. The hammer spur is a bit narrow and smallish by today's standards, but references the period. But it's no trouble to get a thumb on, and it's nicely serrated, and it doesn't slip. My perception of the trigger at the range was that it runs very smoothly in double action, and it's light and crisp in single action. Double action pull measured about 11 pounds on my Lyman gauge, and the single action pull was a very short, crisp 4.5 pounds. The Big Boy has a shroudless ejector rod, but I think this was a good design choice. It keeps the proper appearance of the gun, and the handle of the ejection rod is slightly oversized with a flat taken out from the underside of the barrel to accommodate it. Actually makes a very striking profile. This, in combination with the smaller hammer spur, are the details that I think really sell this revolver as a period-inspired Henry product. The underside of the top strap is so smooth it looks like it was polished. And the forcing cone is beautifully rounded and smooth, very unusual for a production revolver. Have you ever snagged a patch or a rag on the rough edges of the forcing cone when you're cleaning a revolver? And that's not going to happen here. At the range, I shot about equal parts .357 Magnum and .38 Special ammo. This is, of course, one of the advantages of guns chambered in .357 Magnum, is you can shoot .38 Special, which is usually cheaper and always softer. I started out with .38 Special, which let me kind of get acquainted with the gun, and then I started feeding the stronger stuff, and then I went back and forth. I chose to use single action when testing accuracy, and even shooting offhand, I was really impressed with the small group that I could keep on the target. All right, well, single action to test accuracy here for offhand shooting. All right. The weight of the gun does a lot to tame the recoil of the .357 Magnum load, making plinking, training, or competitive shooting with full power ammo something to consider. Well, for somebody who claims he loves revolvers, I am apparently a bit rusty in my double action revolver shooting. But going single action on that target that's 15 yards down range shows that, with the exception of one probable flinch on my part, boy, she is putting them right where you point it. Let me go with 6 more, and I'm going to stick with single action for the moment. It's got a nice trigger. I mean, the physical trigger itself, smooth faced, feels very nice on the finger. It's not what I would call light, but it's certainly not heavy. The important thing is it's smooth. I've lost count now. Where am I? At 25 yards, I tested it with 4 commonly available .357 mag loads, and I rested the gun on my CTK Precision pistol rest. The average for the groups was 1.7 inches, but the best group, MagTech ammo, was just 3/4 of an inch. Pretty impressive. Just about anyone who's a wheel gun enthusiast should be interested in a very close hands-on look at this gun. While I'm sure you could get some great match performance from the Big Boy, I don't think the most likely customer is that person. I found that my enjoyment of it was shooting a very attractive homage to the early days of double action. Maybe proactive collectors that might like to have that first year lower serial number copy of the gun might, be interested in it for that purposes. And who knows, this could become a classic Henry someday. I just really enjoy shooting it. As I hinted, the Henry Big Boy might not draw an interest from the competition crowd. Cowboy action shooting, a popular sport for vintage and reproductions of vintage firearms, doesn't allow double action revolvers, so it's eliminated there. Most IDPA, USPSA, or GPA shooters that like to use wheel guns are generally going to be interested in the most modern technology that the sport will permit. Same thing goes for Steel Challenge. So then there's me and others like me. Kind of scary to think that there are others like me, but there it is. My first centerfire gun was a 6-shot revolver, and so they hold a special place in my heart. The Henry Big Boy looks and feels a bit different from the others. It ticks all the right boxes in terms of quality and accuracy, but it does have something that none other has. It has the name Henry on it. A Henry carbine, like the 357 mag side gate, is something that either most gun owners have in their safe or it's on their bucket list. I think this wheel gun belongs right there with it. The Big Boy doesn't just look like a Henry, it is a Henry. You can feel the substance of it, and you can see the attention to detail and the quality. I like the idea of the matched revolver to the rifle or carbine, and every time I look at them together, I'm impressed how well they match. With a suggested retail price of $928, I would expect that we'll see these in the stores at under $900. And considering the quality and the performance, based on my testing so far, I think it's nicely priced. The bottom line is, the Big Boy Revolver is a perfect fit for the Henry product line. In fact, it looks like it's always been there. If you love wheel guns or you want the perfect companion for your Henry side gate carbine, you need to check out the Big Boy Revolver. Oh, and speaking of that Henry Big Boy 357 carbine, I'll be doing a full review on that very soon too. So make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. This is just an opinion. Thanks for watching.